Welcome to Mayhem CDH, where questionable decks meet questionable pilots. For this week, with some brewing over the last 2 weeks, we're coming back to Oathbreaker with some new ideas on just how hard this format can go. With that being said, let's check out the pod today. First, we have Cole on Daretti, Entomb, and Genius Stax, a Stax deck that seeks to lock down the table, use its Oathbreaker to break parity, and win with a triple threat artifact token copy. Ash on Tamiyo Flash Catwalk Breakfast, a FlashHulk deck that seeks to use Tamiyo as a powerful draw engine to set up for a FlashHulk line right out of the command zone. Pilch on Kaya Anguished Unmaking Death and Faxes, a Death and Taxes list that seeks to slow down the table, utilize its Oathbreaker and signature spell to remove problems, and win with beats. And finally, Jack on Dihada Demonic Tutor Binder of Oaths, a Mardu deck that seeks to turbo at Dihada, find Flicker, and win with a breach line. And now, with each pilot in their respective corner of the screen, let us begin. And for those of you in the Ames area, stick around to find out how you can get 10% off your next Mayhem Ames purchase. Pilch draws and plays a Plains. He follows it up with a Mother of Runes and passes. Jack draws and plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracking it, paying a life, and fetching up a Badlands onto the battlefield. He plays a Chromox, Imprinting Enlightened Tutor, an Esper Sentinel, a Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, and passes. Cole draws, plays a Drossforge Bridge tapped, and passes. Ash draws and plays a Polluted Delta, cracking it, paying a life, and fetching up a Tropical Island onto the battlefield. She plays a Haywire Might and passes. Pilch draws, plays an Isolated Chapel, and passes. Jack draws and moves to combat, attacking Cole with Ragavan. 2.
Oh, okay.
I would like to see the top card.
Oh. Would you like to cast the Mox
Yes, I would
Opal?
love the
Yeah, here
Mox
you go. That's pretty good.
With a Mox Opal flipped and a treasure created, in his second main phase, Jack puts a Sacred Foundry into play untapped, paying 2 life, casts his Oathbreaker, Dihada Binder of Wills, and downticks her, flipping the top 4 cards into his graveyard and creating 4 treasure tokens. Bummed out about milling Flicker, Jack flashes back Savine's Reclamation, returning Sokenzon, Crucible of Defiance, and Bloodstained Mire from his graveyard to the battlefield, and cracks Mire, paying a life, fetching up a Scrubland onto the battlefield. He plays a Disciple of the Vault, and with a blazing turn 2 done, Jack passes. Cole draws, plays a Den of the Bugbear, and a Demonic Tutor, fetching up a card into his hand, and passing. Ash draws, plays a Windswept Teeth, and casts Brainstorm, drawing 3, putting 2 back on top, and cracks Windswept Teeth, paying a life, fetching up a Savannah onto the battlefield. She plays a Nomad Zenkor and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Grimclimb Pathway, and an Archon of Emeria. Jack sighs, and Pilch passes. Jack draws and upticks Dihada, giving Ragavan Vigilance, Lifelink, and Indestructible. He moves to combat, attacking Cole with Ragavan. Cole takes the hit, Jack creates a treasure, and exiles Faithless Looting off the top of Cole's library. In his second main phase, Jack plays a Drannith Magistrate, a Verdant Catacombs tapped, and passes. Cole draws, plays an Ancient Tomb tapped, and a Sphere of Resistance, not paying for Jack's Sentinel. Cole passes. Ash draws, sighs, and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Plains, and a Silverblade Paladin, soul bonding with Archon, giving both double strike. He moves to combat and attacks Jack with Archon. Jack takes the hit, and Pilch passes. Jack draws and pays 3 life to help cast Toxic Deluge, where X equals 3. In response, Ash sacrifices Haywire Might, exiling Sphere of Resistance. Then, the board is wiped, and Jack cracks his Catacombs, paying a life, fetching up a Godless Shrine into play untapped, paying 2 life. He downticks Dihada, revealing the top 4 into his graveyard and creating 4 treasure tokens, and casts his signature spell, Demonic Tutor, fetching up a card into his hand. He plays a Crystal Vein and casts Silence. In response, Ash casts Pact of Negation, countering Silence. Jack follows that up with Underworld Breach. Breach resolves, and Jack escapes Silence, locking his opponents out of spells for the turn. He escapes Flicker from his graveyard, flickering Dihada. With this, Jack presents a loop of downtaking Dihada, milling 4 and creating 4 treasures, and escaping Flicker, resetting Dihada, doing this until his entire deck is in his graveyard. He escapes Feldar Guardian and Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker to the battlefield.
So what are you doing with these 2 creatures? If you
Yeah,
didn't
that's
mill Flicker, we would have gotten turn 2.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, if I had milled Flicker, you were dead turn 2.
Yeah.
The table sees the writing on the wall, and Jack wins the game. Cole draws, plays a Drossforge Bridge tapped, and passes. Ash draws, plays a Savannah, a Noble Hierarch, a Mishra's Bauble, and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Plains, and passes. Jack draws, plays a Command Tower, an Esper Sentinel, and passes. Cole draws and plays Marsh Flats, cracking it, paying a life, and fetching up a swamp onto the battlefield. He casts Faithless Looting, paying for Jack's Sentinel, drawing 2 and discarding 2, and at the end of turn, Ash cracks Bauble, looking at the top card of Jack's deck. The turn moves to Ash. At her upkeep, Ash draws from Bauble, draws, plays Oath of Nissa, not paying for Jack's Sentinel, looking at the top 3, putting Prismatic Vista to her hand, the rest to the bottom, and Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. She plays a Mox Diamond, discarding a land when it enters, a Polluted Delta, and cracks Delta, paying a life and fetching up a tropical island onto the battlefield, follows that up with a Llanowar Elves, a Brainstone, and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Grim Climb Pathway, and a Blind Obedience, not paying for Jack's Sentinel.
I'm fine with the Blind Obedience.
This card hoses me.
Yeah, that's why I'm fine with it.
Pilch passes. Jack draws and moves to combat, attacking Pilch with Sentinel. Pilch takes the hit, and in his second main phase, Jack plays an Ancient Tomb and an Imperial Recruiter, fetching up a Timna the Weaver to his hand. Jack passes. Cole draws, plays a Mountain, and a Blood Moon. This turn cycle went, hose me. I'll find Timna, hose me. Cole passes. Ash draws, plays a Boseiju who shelters all, and casts her Oathbreaker, Tamiyo, Field Researcher, not paying for Jack's Sentinel, and upticks her, targeting Noble Hierarch and Llanowar Elves. She moves to combat, tagging Cole with Llanowar Elves. Cole takes the hit, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and in her second main phase, plays a Nomad's Encore and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Swamp, a Vryn Wingmare, and passes. Jack draws, plays a Bloodstained Mire, and moves to combat, tagging Cole with everything. Cole takes the hit, and Jack passes. Cole draws, plays a Mishra's Workshop, and a Sorceress Spyglass, not paying for Jack's Sentinel. He looks at Aiden's hand, and...
Yeah, I'm gonna name fucking Tamiyo.
Okay.
Not deal!
No, you already said it! You already said it! He said he's naming Tamiyo.
Hold up. Because I don't know the combo, how does it work?
Okay, so there's...
Cephalid Breakfast.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, well then fuck yeah, I'm naming it.
Yeah.
With Cole persuaded to change what was named, he passes. Ash draws and upticks Tamiyo, targeting Llanowar Elves and Nomads Encore, and moves to combat, tagging Jack with Llanowar and Cole with Nomads. Both take the hits, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and in her second main phase, she plays a Snow-Covered Island, it matters, and a Displacer Kitten. Ash passes. Pilch draws, plays a Command Tower, a Thalia Guardian of Thraben, and passes. Jack draws, plays a Mox Diamond, discarding a land when it enters, and a Prismatic Vista. 2.
I feel personally.
Yes!
I don't know why.
You should! Jack passes. Cole draws, plays a Swamp, and casts his Oathbreaker, Daretti, Ingenious Iconoclast, not paying for Jack's Sentinel. In response, Ash casts Fierce Guardianship, targeting Daretti, not paying for Jack's Sentinel, flickering Oath of Nissa with Kitten, looking at the top 3, putting a Tundra into her hand, and the rest to the bottom. Then, Daretti is countered, and Cole passes. Ash draws and upticks Tamiyo, targeting Kitten and Nomads, and moves to combat, tagging Cole with Kitten and Jack with Nomads. Both take the hits, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and in her second main phase, cracks Brainstone, drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. Ash passes. Pilch draws, plays a Swamp, and moves to combat, tagging Tamiyo with Wingmare. Tamiyo takes the hit, and Pilch passes. Jack draws, plays a Marsh Flats, and moves to combat, tagging Cole with everything. Cole takes the hit, and Jack passes. Cole draws, and at the end of turn, Ash casts Brainstorm, not paying for Sentinel, targeting Oath of Nissa with Kitten. In response, Pilch casts Swift End, targeting Tamiyo, not paying for Sentinel. Still in response, Jack casts Cathartic Pyre, targeting Kitten. In response, Ash exiles a blue card and pays a life to cast Force of Will, flickering Llanowar Elves with Kitten, countering Cathartic Pyre. Then, Swift End destroys Tamiyo, Murderous Rider goes on an adventure, Oath of Nissa is flickered, with Ash looking at the top 3, revealing a Wooded Foothills to her hand and the rest to the bottom, and Brainstorm finally resolves, with Ash drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. The turn finally moves to Ash. Ash draws, plays a Wooded Foothills, a Lotus Petal, not paying for Sentinel, targeting Oath of Nissa with Kitten. In response, Cole casts Terminate, paying for Jack's Sentinel, destroying Kitten. Then, Oath of Nissa is flickered, Ash looks at the top 3, revealing Snow-Covered Islands to her hand, the rest to the bottom, and recasts her Oathbreaker, Tamiyo, Field Researcher. She upticks Tamiyo, targeting Nomads Encore and Llanowar Elves, and moves to combat, tagging Jack with Llanowar and Cole with Nomads. Both take the hits, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and passes. Pilch draws, returns Murderous Rider from his adventure, and plays Selfless Spirit. He moves to combat, attacking Jack with Thalia and Ash with Wingmare. Both take the hits, and Pilch passes. Jack draws, plays a Blood Crypt, and moves to combat, tagging Cole with everything. Cole takes the hit, and Jack moves to discard. I'll discard Sabine's Rectum.
They're good ones. He's gonna
Sabine's Wreck back to the What?
Nah. Jack passes. Cole draws and casts Demonic Tutor, not paying for Sentinel, fetching up a card into his hand, and evokes Fury, targeting Nomads Encore, Esper Sentinel, Thalia Guardian of Thraben, and Vryn Wingmare. In response, Pilch sacrifices Selfless Spirit, giving all his creatures indestructible. Then, Sentinel and Nomads are destroyed, Fury sacrifices itself, and the turn moves to Ash. Ash draws, plays a snow-covered plains, and upticks Tamiyo, targeting Noble Hierarch and Llanowar elves, and moves to combat, tagging Jack with elves. Jack takes the hit, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and in her second main phase, she plays a Haywire Might and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Spirit of the Labyrinth, extorting it through Blind Obedience, and moves to combat, tagging Jack with Murderous Rider and Ash with Thalia and Wingmare. Both take the hits, and at the end of turn, Jack casts Enlighten Tutor.
Society.
Society.
Oh my god, you just got an arcane signet, didn't you?
The turn moves to Jack. Jack draws and pays a life to help cast Toxic Deluge, where X equals 1. In response, Ash sacrifices Haywire Might, exiling Sorceress Spyglass. Then, the board is mostly wiped. Jack plays an Arcane Signet and passes. Cole draws, plays an Arid Mesa, a Mox Amber, and recasts his Oathbreaker, Daretti, Ingenious Iconoclast, and upticks him, creating a 1/1 construct with Defender. He casts his signature spell, Entomb, fetching up a portal to Phyrexia into his graveyard, and at the end of turn, Ash flashes in a Solitude, exiling Murderous Rider and gaining Pilch 2 life. The turn moves to Ash. Ash draws, upticks Tamiyo, targeting Solitude, and moves to combat, attacking Jack with Solitude. Jack takes the hit, Ash draws through Tamiyo, and in her second main phase, she plays a snow-covered island. She follows it up by multi-kicking an Everflowing Chalice twice, and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Kunaros Hound of Athreos, extorting it.
You two are gonna die, and I'm gonna lose the FlashHulk.
Well, I'm glad you know what's about to happen. Jack considers concession, and Pilch passes. Jack draws and plays Ranger Captain of Eos, fetching up a Disciple of the Vault into his hand. He plays a Badlands, a Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, and passes. Cole draws and plays Goblin Engineer, fetching up a Winter Orb to his graveyard, and follows it up with a Clock of Omens. He upticks Daretti, creating a 1/1 construct, and passes. At the beginning of her upkeep, Jack sacrifices Ranger Captain, locking his opponent's set of non-creature spells for the turn. Ash draws and ultimates Tamiyo, drawing 3 and getting an Omniscience emblem. She plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. Pilch draws, plays a Karakas, an Eidolon of Obstruction, extorting it, and moves to combat, tagging Ash with Kunaros. Ash takes the hit, and Pilch passes. Jack draws and casts his Oathbreaker, Dihada, Binder of Wills, and upticks her, giving Ragavan Vigilance, Lifelink, and Indestructible. Okay, who has something in their deck that has the best bet of handling Ash?
You want a random...
Plead your case.
What else do... Well, you're the red deck, and I only have red, so I have to attack you.
Was it a 2/1?
Yeah.
So put my ass to 1?
What else do you want me to
That's
do?
fair, I go for it, hit me.
Alright, I'm attacking you.
Ragavan trigger.
Ragavan trigger. Come on! Thanks for the mana!
I guess I really didn't want that either.
No!
There's a tap, so...
Cursed by the very Mox Opal that helped him previous, Jack passes. Cole draws and recasts his signature spell, Entomb, fetching up a Trinisphere into his graveyard. He plays a Torpor Orb, and in response, after a rewind, Ash flashes in Endurance, shuffling her graveyard to the bottom of her library. Cole activates Goblin Engineer, sacrificing a construct to return Trinisphere to the battlefield, activates Clock of Omens, tapping itself and Mox Hammer to untap Trinisphere, and passes. Ash draws and thinks of a way to get rid of Cole's Stax.
Ash, you wanna know the better way of doing this?
What?
Attacking me?
She moves to combat and attacks Cole with everything. Cole takes the hit and dies. With Cole out of the way, in her second main phase, Ash plays a Spellseeker. In response, Jack cracks his Marshflats and Bloodstained Mire, paying 2 life, fetching up a Savide Triome and a Swamp to the battlefield. Ash fetches up a Pact of Negation to her hand and cracks her Wooded Foothills and Scalding Tarn, paying 2 life, fetching up a Snow-Covered Forest and a Hollowed Fountain into play untapped, paying 2 life. She recasts her Oathbreaker, Tamiyo, Field Researcher, plays a Mox Amber, a Tundra, and casts her signature spell, Flash, fetching up a Protean Hulk to the battlefield, not paying for Flash's tax, sacrificing Hulk, and fetching up a Nomads and Core, Cephalid Illusionist, and Ice Fang Waddle to the battlefield.
Okay, well, I'm gonna draw a card off Ice Fang Waddle.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to activate Nomads and Core, targeting Cephalid Illusionist, making me mill 3 cards.
Okay.
I'm going to activate Nomads and Core, targeting Cephalid
you can
Illusionist.
shortcut a little.
You said no shortcutting earlier.
You can shortcut the win.
I'm going to cast Oracle for my hand.
Okay. Yeah, I got
Am I forcing?
The table sees the writing on the wall, and Ash wins the game. For those of you in the Ames area who stuck around, come to Mayhem Comics in Ames this week and ask for the YouTube discount. You'll be asked the question, who won Game 2? Answer correctly and get 10% off your purchase. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to catch future videos, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.